Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin number 1. Imagine you're sorting through an old box of spare change, maybe coins you picked up from a trip or inherited from a relative. Among the quarters, you spot one dated 1967. It looks ordinary at first, familiar profile of George Washington, the standard eagle on the back, no mint mark, a bit of wear from decades of circulation. Most people would toss it aside, thinking it's just 25 cents. But what if I told you that this simple coin, the 1967 Washington quarter, could hide something special? That beneath its surface might lie a collectible story, a rare mint error, or a gem worth far more than pocket change. Stick around, because this video might change how you look at your loose change forever. In the mid-1960s, the United States was going through a coin shortage. To meet demand, the United States Mint drastically increased production and removed mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967 to discourage hoarding. That means every 1967 Washington quarter was struck without a mint mark. Over 1.5 billion of them were released into everyday circulation. Because of that enormous mintage and standard copper-nickel clad composition, not silver like the pre-1965 quarters, the typical 1967 quarter is not especially rare. For most collectors, it's a classic common date. As one collector on Reddit summarized plainly, over 1.5 billion were minted, so it's worth 25 cents. And for most circulated coins, that's exactly what you get, the face value or maybe a few cents above. But here's where things get much more interesting. Among those millions of coins, a small number were minted under unusual circumstances, flawed strikes, planchet problems, misaligned dies, and those are the coins that draw serious collector interest. Some of the known variations and error types from 1967 include clipped planchets, coins struck on incomplete or partially cut metal blanks, resulting in a crescent-shaped missing edge. Off-center strikes, where the design isn't properly aligned, so part of the coin appears blank or the design is shifted. Incorrect planchets. There are rare reports of 1967 quarters struck on planchets intended for smaller coins, like dimes or nickels, producing odd size or weight differences. Die breaks, doubling, and other minting mistakes, sometimes showing as doubled letters, unusual raised lines, or anomalies in the lettering, also make certain coins more sought after. These anomalies turn a mass-produced coin into a potential collectible. Because errors are accidental and often unpredictable, the number of interesting 1967 quarters out there is extremely tiny compared to the regular run, and scarcity is what drives value among collectors. But it's not just the errors that matter. Even a normal 1967 quarter, if immaculately preserved, perhaps one that went straight into a pocket change jar and stayed there for decades, can appeal to collectors. Sharp details, unblemished surfaces, clean luster, those features matter. These are often graded under sealer services, like PCGS or NGC, and the market treats them differently from worn, circulated coins. So what's realistic value today? For an ordinary, circulated 1967 quarter, the kind you might still find in loose change, value stays near face amount, roughly a quarter or maybe a little more. If you happen to have an uncirculated one with no wear, crisp details, and original luster, especially if graded by a professional, you might see something like $5 to $25. But if you've got a rare error or a special variety, clipped planchet, struck off-center, wrong planchet, dramatic die error, the coin can be far more valuable. That's when things get exciting. Some of those have sold at auctions for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition, rarity, and certification. For collectors, especially those who enjoy the thrill of the hunt, the 1967 quarter represents an opportunity. Because so many were minted, most are common, that keeps pressure low, makes mistakes rare, and rare means valuable. If you're patient, curious, and willing to examine your coins with a loupe or magnifier, you might discover something special hiding in plain sight. If you find what seems like a good candidate, maybe a quarter with an unusual gap, a strange planchet, or abnormal letters, it's worth getting it professionally graded. Once encapsulated by a trusted grading service, the coin's provenance, condition, and type become part of its permanent record, and that can dramatically influence value when selling or trading among collectors. At the same time, don't fall for overblown rare coin hype. As some seasoned collectors pointed out in coin collecting forums and comment threads, many 1967 quarters are perfectly ordinary, and some online listings posting high prices are just clickbait, overpriced common coins hoping for an easy sale. If you're into history, small details, and the unexpected, coins like these tell stories. A bit of wear, a tiny flaw, or just decades of circulation, each coin survived time, survived hands changing, economies shifting, and still exists. That's part of the charm. Holding such a coin is holding a piece of history. So next time you come across a 1967 quarter in a drawer, don't toss it, examine it. Look for odd edges, inconsistent metal flow, misalignments, or anything out of the ordinary. It could be just a quarter, or it could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. And finally, here's what the real market says as of now. A typical 1967 Washington quarter in circulated condition trades for around a quarter. A crisp uncirculated example may fetch in the range of $5 to $25. A well-graded uncirculated coin, or one with minting errors or rare varieties, properly authenticated, has seen auction values reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition and rarity. If you own a 1967 quarter and it's looked normal all these years, maybe give it another look. You never know, that old coin might just surprise you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1967 Washington quarter, hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want more coin stories from around the world. Maybe your next found treasure will be in your own pocket change. Coin number 2. You reach into one of those boxes and pull out a coin, a quarter, dated 1968, with a small D stamped just under the portrait of George Washington. That D tells you this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance it might look like a simple 25-cent piece, but if you lean in closer, under a magnifier or in good light, you might catch a glint of something rare, something exciting. Today we explore why the 1968 D quarter might surprise you, and why collectors across the globe sometimes pay far more than pocket change for what looks like just another coin. 1968 was the first year when the mint mark on Washington quarters moved to the obverse, right next to Washington's bust, making the D for Denver easy to spot. That D matters. It records place of origin and helps distinguish the coin from millions minted elsewhere. That year the Denver Mint produced about 101,534,000 of these quarters, a large run, yet smaller than Philadelphia's for that year, because of that high production and the fact these coins are of copper-nickel clad composition, not silver. Following the U.S. Mint's shift away from silver in 1965, most 1968 D quarters floating around are ordinary in numismatic terms. If your 1968 D quarter was used for everyday transactions, jingling in jars, stuck in pockets, passed hand to hand, it likely shows signs of wear, dull surfaces, smooth details, slight rim wear. In that state, for most coin collectors or dealers, it's essentially worth face value. That means roughly 25 cents, but coins, like old photographs, have stories and sometimes hidden surprises. For serious collectors, what makes a 1968 D quarter special is not just the date or the mint mark, its condition, eye appeal, and occasionally, mistakes made during striking. Some coins slip through production under strange or imperfect conditions, and these errors or anomalies can turn an everyday quarter into something much more interesting. Imagine a quarter struck slightly off-center. Perhaps the metal planchet, wasn't seated correctly when the press hit it, so part of Washington's face is blurred, or the eagle on the reverse is cut off. Maybe the rim is irregular. Those off-center strikes are rare, and often instantly catch a collector's attention. Or picture a clipped planchet, a piece of metal that was cut incorrectly into a round blank. The result, a coin with a crescent-shaped missing chunk, one side smooth, the rest intact. The abrupt flatness where the clip occurred can sometimes show weird metal flow or unusual lines on the rim. Then there are doubling errors, where letters, numbers, or details appear duplicated, slightly offset. A subtle double strike on the date or motto, almost invisible to an untrained eye, but under magnification it becomes obvious, and on rarer occasions, production mishaps produce weak collar strikes or broad strikes, coins that are a tiny bit larger in diameter because the collar, which constrains the coin while pressing, didn't lock fully. The edge might be different, slightly flared. Each of these varieties, off-center, clipped, double die, broad strike, is like a fingerprint, unique, unrepeatable. Their errors of chance, mistakes in metal and machinery, and that unpredictability, combined with survival through decades, makes them desirable. Beyond errors, even a regular 1968 D quarter can become collectible if it's survived in near-perfect condition. A quarter that never passed through cash registers, that never scratched against other coins, one with sharp, crisp details, full mint luster, and clean metal surfaces, can draw real interest. Such coins are often submitted to grading services, which evaluate them on a strict scale, and when they meet high standards, their numeric grade becomes a badge of quality. Collectors respect. So what does that look like in real life? For a 1968 D Washington quarter in ordinary circulated condition, the worn ones you still might find in change, the realistic value remains at or near its face value, roughly 25 cents. If the coin is uncirculated, with its original brightness and crisp details, typical trading value tends to range between $1 and $2. Sometimes, sellers or buyers might be willing to pay a bit more, maybe $3 to $5, if the coin looks especially nice under light, but the real magic happens when the coin combines rarity, condition, and uniqueness. For a certified mint state 1968 D quarter, depending on grade, the market generally places value as high as around mid-teens to $20, and then there are the legends, coins so exceptional they become near mythic among collectors. One 1968 D quarter graded MS-68 by the top grading authority was sold at auction for $8,812.50. Why such a massive difference? Because of eye appeal, the auction description highlighted lavender and powder blue interiors yield to deep olive gold, crimson, and lemon yellow peripheral hues. That combination of perfect grade, outstanding toning, and rarity, only 6 coins of that grade are known. For 1968 D, turned an ordinary business strike quarter into a collector's holy grail. Of course, finding such a coin is incredibly unlikely, but that's the point. The rarity, the near impossibility, makes it exciting. It's the coin collector equivalent of stumbling across a rare painting in a dusty attic. If you have a 1968 D quarter in hand, here's a simple treasure check you can do at home. Hold it under strong light. Look at the rim. Is it smooth and even, or jagged and irregular? Tilt it. Do you see raised or double printed letters when the light catches it? Check the edge. Is it unusually wide, flared, or smooth in places where there should be reading, the little lines on the rim? Look at the surfaces. Do they reflect light brightly with original shine, or are they dull and scratched from decades of circulation? If the coin looks crisp, with sharp details, unfamiliar shapes, or weird edges, it might deserve a second look by a grading expert, because coins aren't just currency. They're time capsules. Each 1968 D Washington quarter carries with it a moment in history, the decisions made by the U.S. Mint, the coins pressed under immense pressure and heat, the hands that held it, the pockets it climbed through, the jars it rattled in. Most of those coins live mundane lives, everyday change, unnoticed and forgotten. But a precious few survived like quiet witnesses, and some of them hold subtle quirks that make them shine in a very different light. If you enjoy small mysteries, hidden gems, and the thrill of the hunt, coins like the 1968 D quarter become more than metal discs. They become puzzles, stories, and sometimes, depending on luck, treasures. So next time you empty your wallet or dig through a coin jar, pause a moment when you see a quarter from 1968 with a D. Give it a gentle spin under light. Run your finger around the rim. Examine the lettering, the profile, the shine. It might just be a 25-cent coin. Or it might be something much more real. Market values today. A typical circulated 1968 D quarter trades for around 25 cents. A clean uncirculated piece often sells for $1 to $2. A nicely graded mint state quarter may fetch mid-teens to about $20. And at the extreme end, coins graded MS-68 with exceptional eye appeal have been known to draw auction prices up to $8,812.50. If you love coins, or if you just like the idea that every coin holds a little history, maybe that 1968 D quarter in your pocket is worth another look. Happy hunting. You never know when a 25-cent coin will surprise you. Coin number 3. We're diving deep into the fascinating and sometimes surprising world of coin collecting. We're going to explore a coin that at first glance seems ordinary but might hide unexpected value. I'm talking about the 1965 Washington quarter. Grab a cup of tea, sit back, and listen carefully, because this could change how you look at your old pocket change forever. Let's rewind to 1965. The United States Mint decided to stop striking quarters in silver. After decades of silver coinage, the 1965 quarter was supposed to usher in a new era, a copper-nickel clad composition, lighter in weight, cheaper in metal cost, and produced in huge quantities. In fact, over 1.82 billion 1965 Washington quarters were struck, one of the largest mintings in U.S. coin history. Moneybag, because of that massive production, the vast majority of 1,965 quarters you find in jars, piggy banks, or even loose change, are common and worth, at most, face value. Many circulated examples trade for about 25 cents, yes, just like their original face value. So far, that sounds boring. But here comes the twist. During that big production run, a very small number of freak errors and unexpected planchet mishaps occurred. And those make certain 1965 quarters among the most intriguing and potentially valuable modern era coins. Imagine this. Leftover silver planchets from 1964, blanks meant for silver quarters, somehow sneak into the production line in 1965. Instead of clad, copper nickel, the dies strike those old silver blanks. What results is a transitional error coin, a 1965 dated quarter, but minted in 90% silver. Few of these exist, because these coins were essentially never meant to exist. They are extremely rare. Over the years, a handful have surfaced, and when they do, collectors pay serious money. For example, one such silver planchet 1965 quarter, graded $53 Australian, sold for more than $7,000 at auction. But silver planchet isn't the only rare possibility. There are also mint errors of several kinds: wrong planchet strikes, a quarter struck on a dime planchet or other incorrect blank, double die errors on the obverse or reverse, where letters or date appear doubled, off-center strikes, broad strikes, struck through marks, and other anomalies. Each error type yields a completely different kind of rarity, sometimes subtle, sometimes dramatic. Let's talk about how you might spot one of these rare 1965 quarters, things to watch for if you decide to dig through coin rolls or jars. First, weight and feel. A genuine silver planchet quarter will weigh around 6.25 grams, the normal clad version weighs about 5.67 grams. Second, inspect the edge. A clad quarter often shows a copper-nickel layering with a slightly different tint on the rim. A silver coin will have a uniform silver-gray rim, no copper tinge. Third, under magnification, look closely at the lettering, check for doubling in Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date. Also check for anomalies like misaligned strike, uneven fields, or unexpected planchet texture. But let me be clear, genuine error or silver 1965 quarters are exceedingly rare. Most old quarters from 1965 are just common clad strikes, and will likely be worth only face value. That's the reality of collecting. Rarity, verification, and condition matter tremendously. In fact, many coin collector forums emphasize this plainly. A typical 1965 quarter, even uncirculated, will likely fetch only a few dollars, nothing dramatic unless it carries a genuine error. As one collector put it, there are a few 1965 quarters struck on silver planchets, but the odds of one still being in circulation are like 1,000,000,000 to 1. Still, for those few lucky souls who do find a special 1965 quarter, maybe hiding in a jar for decades, it can be a golden ticket. That's what makes this coin such a fascinating treasure hunt. It's part history, part mystery, part hope, and full of the kind of rare surprises that turn a simple quarter into a collector's gem. So, if you're a collector, or just someone with a jar of old coins lying around, now you know. Don't dismiss 1965 quarters as worthless right away. If you spot a silver rim, weigh the coin, or notice strange doubling or misstrike, get it authenticated by a reputable third-party grading service. That coin might be far more valuable than it looks, and here's a quick snapshot of what some of these rare 1965 quarters have sold for. At auction, certain 1965 silver planchet quarters or high-grade error coins have fetched $7,000 and up, even approaching $10,000 or more, depending on condition and error type. On the other hand, standard-clad 1965 quarters, even uncirculated, usually trade for just a few cents to a few dollars. A bottom line, the 1965 Washington quarter shows us that even the most common coin can hide secrets if you know where to look. Keep your eyes sharp, respect the history behind each coin, and maybe, just maybe, you'll uncover something worth a lot more than its face value. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because I'll be bringing you more coin mysteries, rare finds, and numismatic stories soon. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your loose change hold real treasure. Coin number 4. We explore one such treasure that many coin lovers overlook. The 1980p Washington quarter, a coin that millions see every day and ignore instantly, yet collectors know that hidden among those ordinary pieces is a world of rare mistakes, unexpected variations, and surprising value. So listen carefully, because what you learn today may turn your next pocket change search into a discovery worth celebrating. The journey of the 1980p quarter begins at the Philadelphia Mint, where more than 500 million pieces rolled off the presses. Heavy production, constant machinery stress, metal flow issues, clogged dies, and rapid-fire minting created a perfect environment for rare numismatic gems to be born. Most coins came out normal. But not all. And it is in those few imperfect and unusual strikes that the excitement truly begins. Imagine a coin struck just slightly off-center. Not enough to distort the face completely, but enough to shift Washington's bust toward the rim. That small slide, almost like the coin froze mid-motion, creates an error that collectors absolutely love. The wider the off-center, the higher the value, especially if the full date and mint mark remain visible. Then there are broad strikes, where the retaining collar fails, allowing the metal to expand like a ripple around the edges. The rim becomes wide, stretched, and beautifully distorted, but the story does not end there. Many 1980p quarters show die cracks, die breaks, and cuts, signs that the mint machinery was under heavy pressure. These natural scars form raised lines or missing sections where the metal has flowed into broken areas of the die. Every one of these marks is unique, almost like a fingerprint left behind by history. Some cracks stretch across Washington's portrait like lightning. Others create raised blobs near the rim or the eagle's wings on the reverse. If you find one, you're seeing a one-of-a-kind moment from the minting floor. One of the most desirable treasures is the doubled die variety, where letters appear with a shadow, a slight repeat, or thickening. On some 1980p quarters, doubling can be spotted in the inscription Liberty, the words In God We Trust, the date, or even the intricate details of the eagle's feathers. These varieties are extremely hard to find because they blend naturally into the coin's design unless viewed under magnification. A doubled die from this year is a prize many collectors dream of adding to their collection. Struck through errors also add mystery to this coin story. These happen when grease, cloth fibers, metal shavings, or other debris get trapped between the die and the planchet. The result is a weak, missing, or ghost-like area of design. Imagine Washington's hair appearing smooth, flat, or incomplete, or the eagle missing part of its wing detail. These errors make the coin fascinating to examine, as each one preserves a moment of chaos inside the minting chamber. And then there are the wrong planchet errors, the rarest of the rare. On occasion, a quarter may have been mistakenly struck on a nickel planchet, a cent planchet, or even an experimental piece of stock. These errors are exceptionally scarce, but when they appear, they create excitement across the numismatic world. Differences in weight, color, diameter, and sound give clues that something unusual has happened. Collectors love the 1980p quarter because it sits at the crossroads between modern and vintage numismatics. It is accessible, inexpensive to search, widely available, and yet full of potential surprises. Every roll you open and every jar you sift through is an opportunity to uncover a hidden rarity. And that thrill keeps collectors coming back. The Philadelphia Mint itself adds to the magic. Known for its high-output production, it frequently pushed machinery to its limits in the 1980s. This high-speed environment created the perfect breeding ground for striking anomalies. For example, weak strikes occur when the coin fails to receive a full impression, leaving shallow detail on Washington's face or missing texture on the eagle's feathers. Even though weak strikes are not always the most valuable, they remain interesting because they reflect the mint's frantic pace. All of this combines into one truth: the 1980p quarter is far more than a common modern coin. It is a small metal canvas filled with the possibility of discovery, subtle doubling, dramatic off-centers, impressive cuds, delicate cracks, and extremely scarce wrong planchet mistakes. Every collector knows this: when a coin can be both common and rare at the same time, it becomes worth exploring. And now, we arrive at the part collectors always wait for. Real value. True market performance. The real-world numbers that show what these coins can bring when rarity meets demand. A normal 1980p quarter in circulation is worth only its face value of 25 cents. A high-grade uncirculated piece can sell for a few dollars. But the rare error coins tell another story. Off-center strikes, depending on the degree, can sell for $30, $50, or even over $100. Broad strikes can reach $40 or more. Dramatic cuds and strong die breaks can sell for $100 or several $100s. Doubled die varieties, when dramatic, can bring hundreds of dollars. And the extremely rare wrong planchet errors have sold at auction for more than $1,000, and in some cases over $2,000 in words. Coin number 5. We are going to uncover one such treasure, the 1997p Washington quarter, a coin that seems ordinary to most, but which, in the right hands, can reveal extraordinary rarity and value. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you might look at your old change with completely new eyes. The 1997p Washington quarter came out of the Philadelphia Mint, one of the most prolific mints in modern U.S. history. This quarter was minted in massive quantities, designed for everyday commerce, and intended to pass from hand to hand without notice. In total, hundreds of millions were struck, making it seem ordinary and common. Yet, within these millions lie a handful of coins that stand apart, coins that are sought after by collectors for their unusual characteristics, errors, and limited variations. The first aspect that makes the 1997p quarter interesting is the occurrence of minting errors. Even in a year dominated by modern minting precision, errors can slip through, creating coins that are both rare and valuable. One of the most commonly sought-after errors is the off-center strike. An off-center coin occurs when the planchet does not sit perfectly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing. In some cases, the misalignment is slight, barely noticeable to the naked eye. In other cases, a dramatic off-center strike produces a coin that looks like it was frozen mid-press, with part of Washington's bust or the eagle on the reverse absent. Such coins are exceedingly rare, and their dramatic appearance makes them highly collectible. Another intriguing category of error for the 1997p quarter is doubled die. A doubled die occurs when the die itself carries an extra, misaligned impression. This can lead to doubling in the lettering, the date, or even subtle elements of Washington's profile. Collectors treasure these doubled dies because no two are exactly alike. Even subtle variations in doubling can differentiate one coin from another, making it a small piece of numismatic art. We also find coins affected by die cracks, cuds, and planchet flaws. Die cracks appear when a die develops a fracture over time, leaving raised lines or marks on the coin. Sometimes these lines are so subtle they require magnification, while other times they stretch across the coin's surface like lightning, creating a visually striking anomaly. Cuds, or missing areas of design, happen when a portion of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal in its place. Planchet flaws, meanwhile, can introduce bumps, laminations, or strange textures that make each coin unique. For collectors, these irregularities are not defects, they are the fingerprint of history, evidence of the minting process frozen in time. Weight and composition are also important. While the 1997p quarter is made of the standard copper-nickel clad composition, on rare occasions, experimental or misfed planchets can produce quarters that differ slightly in weight, color, or metallic sheen. These anomalies are highly prized by collectors who enjoy discovering coins that deviate from the norm in subtle but significant ways. The thrill of collecting modern quarters like the 1997p is that it combines accessibility with the possibility of discovery. Unlike rare coins from the 19th century, these quarters can still be found in circulation, in old collections, or among unsearched rolls. Every batch of coins you open could hide an error coin, an off-center strike, a double die, or a planchet oddity, making the hunt as exciting as it is potentially profitable. Collectors also pay attention to condition. A 1997 P quarter in circulated condition may seem unremarkable, but if it surfaces in mint state, especially with any unusual error, its value can increase dramatically. High-grade examples with sharp details and full luster are the ones that truly attract attention at auctions and among dedicated collectors. Even minor imperfections that make the coin unique can boost its desirability. It's fascinating to think about how such a seemingly ordinary coin, one minted in the millions for everyday commerce, can hold so much mystery. The 1997 P quarter is a reminder that history and chance often meet in the smallest of objects, that even the coins we overlook can carry hidden stories, and that in the right hands, a quarter can become more than just currency. It can become a collectible gem, a conversation starter, and a piece of history. And now, for those eager to know the real-world market. A standard circulated 1997 P Washington quarter is typically worth its face value of 25 cents. Uncirculated coins may sell for $1 or $2. However, rare error coins such as dramatic off-center strikes, pronounced double dies, or coins with unusual planchet anomalies can command significantly higher prices. Depending on severity and rarity, these coins have been known to sell at auction for $25 to over $100, and in extreme cases of major errors or exceptional condition, even higher, reaching $200 or more. In words.so, the next time you come across a 1997 P quarter in a jar, a drawer, or a collection, don't dismiss it. Examine it carefully. Look for subtle doubling, inspect the edges, check for misalignment or unusual marks, and consider the possibility that it might not be as ordinary as it seems. Because in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most unassuming pieces hold the greatest secrets. The 1997 P Washington quarter teaches us patience, attention to detail, and the excitement of discovery. Every coin has a story, and some of the most thrilling stories are hiding in plain sight, waiting for the collector who takes the time to look closely and appreciate the nuances. Happy hunting, and may your next coin search lead you to a piece of history that is both rare and valuable. Coin number 6. Coins are more than just currency. Each one carries a story, a piece of history, and sometimes a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins for collectors and enthusiasts alike, the 1989 D Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin may seem ordinary, just another quarter minted in Denver for everyday circulation. But if you look closer, you'll see why it has become a point of intrigue and excitement in the numismatic world. The 1989 D quarter comes from a period when the Denver Mint was producing coins at high speed to meet demand. Millions were struck that year, ensuring that the vast majority of 1989 D quarters are common and circulate widely. Yet, hidden among these millions are unusual variations, errors, and rarities that make certain coins highly sought after by collectors. It's a perfect example of how even modern coins can hold surprises if you know where to look. One of the first types of rarity you might encounter is the off-center strike. This occurs when a coin is not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing. In some cases, the misalignment is subtle, barely noticeable, but in others, it can result in a dramatic shift where part of Washington's portrait or the reverse eagle is completely absent. Coins with strong off-center strikes are incredibly rare and can capture the attention of collectors immediately. Another fascinating category is doubled die errors. A doubled die occurs when the coin is struck with a die that carries a slightly misaligned secondary impression. On the 1989 D quarter, doubling can often be seen in the lettering of Liberty, the date, or In God We Trust. Sometimes, the doubling is subtle, creating a shadow effect, while other times it's more pronounced and instantly visible. Each doubled die is unique, making it an appealing find for those who appreciate subtle, detailed anomalies in coins. Die cracks, cuds, and planchet imperfections also make the 1989 D quarter interesting. Die cracks are raised lines that appear when a coin die develops a fracture. These cracks can be delicate and almost invisible or wide and dramatic, crossing Washington's bust or the eagle's wings. Cuds occur when part of the die breaks off completely, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin where detail is missing. Planchet flaws, such as laminations or uneven surfaces, create unusual textures that make each coin distinct. Collectors love these imperfections because they are natural records of the minting process. Frozen in metal for decades, some of the rarest 1989 D quarters are wrong planchet errors. On very rare occasions, a coin may be struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or composition. While these are extraordinarily rare, they create some of the most valuable collector coins, often fetching significantly higher prices at auctions due to their extreme scarcity. Condition is also critical. While many 1989 D quarters are found in circulated condition, uncirculated examples are highly prized. Coins with sharp detail, full luster, and no signs of wear are always in demand. When combined with an error or unique feature, the value of such a coin can increase dramatically. Even minor imperfections that make the coin stand out can make it a coveted piece for collectors. The thrill of searching for rare coins like the 1989 D quarter is part of the collector's journey. Even though millions were minted, the chance to find an unusual strike, a doubled die, or a dramatic die crack in your change or a roll of coins is what keeps enthusiasts exploring. Each coin has a story to tell, and some of the most exciting stories come from coins that were almost lost in everyday circulation. The 1989 D quarter also represents a bridge between modern and classic numismatics. It's accessible enough that collectors can hunt for it without huge expense, but rich in potential surprises that make discovery exciting. Coins like these teach us patience, attention to detail, and the joy of uncovering history in small, everyday objects. Now, for those curious about the market, a standard 1989 D quarter in circulated condition is typically worth its face value of 25 cents. Uncirculated coins may be worth $1 or $2. However, error coins in unique variations can command significantly higher prices. Off-center strikes, depending on severity, can sell for $25, $50, or even more. Doubled die errors in coins with significant die cracks can fetch $100 or more, while dramatic planchet anomalies or wrong planchet errors have been known to sell for several $100s, sometimes exceeding $1,000 in words at auctions. The 1989 D Washington quarter is a reminder that coins, no matter how ordinary they appear, can hold hidden stories, rare surprises, and tangible value. Every coin you encounter has the potential to tell a tale of history, minting, and discovery. For collectors, it's a chance to connect with the past and maybe even uncover a treasure hiding in plain sight. Take your time, examine each coin carefully, and who knows, you might be holding more than just a quarter in your hand. Coin number 7. We are exploring one such treasure, the 1984 D Washington quarter. On the surface, it looks like any other quarter, but for those who know what to look for, it is a coin full of surprises, rare variations, and potential value that can excite collectors and enthusiasts alike. Listen carefully because this coin has nuances that could turn your pocket change into a numismatic adventure. The 1984 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, a facility known for high-volume production. Millions of these coins were struck for everyday circulation, meaning that to the average person, this coin seems extremely common. But within this mass of standard quarters, there exist rare errors and variations that can make a coin stand out dramatically. From subtle die differences to striking mint errors, the 1984 D quarter is a fascinating example of modern numismatic possibilities. One of the most captivating aspects of this coin is the off-center strike. When a planchet is not properly aligned in the press, part of the design may be missing. On some 1984 D quarters, the off-center strike can be dramatic enough to remove a portion of Washington's portrait or part of the eagle on the reverse. These coins are highly sought after because the misalignment is unique to each piece, and the rarity increases with the degree of off-center strike. Collectors prize these errors because they are unpredictable and almost impossible to replicate. Doubled dies are another point of interest for collectors of this year. A doubled die occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a misaligned secondary impression. On the 1984 D quarter, doubling can sometimes be observed in the letters of liberty, "In God We Trust," or the date. Some doubling is subtle, appearing as a shadow or faint doubling under magnification. Other times, it is bold and immediately noticeable, giving the coin a striking, almost three-dimensional appearance. Doubled dies from this year are rare, and each has distinct characteristics that make it unique. Die cracks, cuds, and planchet flaws also make this coin fascinating. Die cracks occur when a fracture develops in the die, leaving raised lines on the coin's surface. Some lines are delicate, barely visible, while others are broad and stretch across the design. Cuds form when part of the die breaks away completely, leaving an irregular raised area on the coin. Planchet flaws, including laminations or uneven surfaces, add further uniqueness. For collectors, these natural imperfections are not defects, they are signatures of the minting process and a physical record of how the coin was made. In addition to errors, rare varieties of the 1984 D quarter can be found in condition and composition. While all standard quarters are made from copper nickel clad, coins with unusual characteristics such as altered metallic sheen, slight weight variations, or experimental planchets are extremely scarce. Coins like these draw the attention of collectors who seek anomalies that set certain quarters apart from millions of ordinary coins. High-grade examples of the 1984 D quarter, especially those with errors, are particularly attractive. Circulated coins typically show wear, which reduces their collector value. In contrast, uncirculated coins with sharp details and full mint luster are highly sought after. When combined with rare errors like off-center strikes, doubled dies, or significant die cracks, the value can increase dramatically. Each coin becomes not only a collectible piece but also a small work of art and history. Collectors also enjoy the thrill of hunting for rare 1984 D quarters. Unlike coins from the 19th century, these modern-era coins can still appear in circulation or in old collections, coin rolls, and jars. Each batch of coins offers the possibility of finding something unusual or rare. Even subtle errors or variations make the coin more interesting, providing a sense of discovery and excitement that is the essence of coin collecting. The 1984 D Washington quarter also teaches patience and attention to detail. Collectors must closely examine every coin, paying attention to edges, lettering, and surface texture. Minor differences can dramatically impact value, and what appears ordinary to the untrained eye can be extraordinary to someone who understands numismatic rarity. It's this combination of accessibility and potential rarity that makes the 1984 D quarter a favorite for collectors of all levels. And now, for those curious about market values, a standard circulated 1984 D quarter is typically worth its face value of 25 cents. Uncirculated examples may fetch $1 or $2. Rare error coins, such as off-center strikes or bold doubled dies, can sell for $25, $50, or more depending on severity. Coins with pronounced die cracks, cuds, or planchet anomalies have been known to sell for $100 or more. In extreme cases, the rarest 1984 D quarters with multiple dramatic errors have sold at auction for over $200. In words, the 1984 D Washington quarter is a perfect example of how even modern coins can hide history and value. Every coin has the potential to tell a story of minting, mistakes, and discovery. By carefully examining these coins and understanding their rare features, collectors can uncover a world of excitement hidden in something that, at first glance, seems ordinary. The thrill lies not only in possession but in the hunt, the study, and the appreciation of the unique characteristics that make each coin a small but significant piece of history.